And Ms. Glass, you are now recognized for 5 minutes.
Thank you so much for the opportunity to testify before you today. I'm the president and CEO of the National Council of Textile Organizations, and I represent the domestic textile industry and the 539,000 workers it employs. We are predominantly based on small businesses. Today's focus on supply chains and bolstering our small businesses is an incredible opportunity. There are immense challenges faced by our industry as a result of this pandemic. Literally overnight, billions of orders were canceled. And I was looking out at an industry that was really confronting bankruptcy. In the spring of last year, when PPE shortage was hitting every front line and workers were wearing garbage bags as gowns or reusing N95 masks, our industry really stepped up. But it's important for me to highlight that the reason that these supply chains broke down is our predominant supply was in China for these items. And because of Chinese subsidies coupled with significant global demand, exacerbated by export controls placed by the Chinese on certain products and raw materials, it had a cascading impact that we were reading in the front pages. Simply put, it was like fighting a fire with a garden hose on every front. And U.S. textile manufacturers quickly mobilized. Virtually overnight, our members were able to retool supply chain to make over 1 billion face masks, isolation gowns, and other textile components. In fact, I'm in New York's garment district right now, and this garment district played a significant role in retooling their supply chains. In order to help the nation's PPE crisis, manufacturers retooled, and they did it overnight, but they had to purchase expensive equipment at a time when capital was really uncertain and it was at a considerable expense. In addition, industry needed to expend significant resources to ensure safe workplaces, to get workers back to work, and also purchase the raw materials necessary to making life-saving PPE. Please note that while PPE was important for our frontline workers and our industry, it didn't make up for the significant loss of orders of normal business. Industry's expenses were vast and wide-ranging, everything from health and safety measures to thermometers to more pay for workers to bring them back on the job. And we appreciate that there's many solutions necessary for small textile manufacturers to weather the challenges of the pandemic and the crisis that we're still confronting. For many of our small businesses, SBA programs serve an important role. Many of our companies take advantage of everything from the Paycheck Protection Program to the Main Street Lending, 7A loans, and 504 loans. Our members really appreciate the aspect of the SBA loans, including the lower down payment and extended payment terms. These advantages, however, are sometimes offset with other factors that disincentivize their use. And I have several key solutions to project for the committee for you all to consider moving forward. First, we think that we need to reform our domestic procurement rules for federal purchases of PPE. Right now, we need to extend the Berry Amendment rules for our military for PPE items that are purchased by other agencies across the federal government. We appreciate the President's Build Back Better initiative to strengthen our supply chains, but we need legislation to move forward. And we want to highlight that Congressman McHenry from North Carolina and Bill Pascrell have the American PPE Supply Chain Integrity Act, which does just that. In addition, we believe that there needs to be more tools and investments in small businesses to manufacture these products moving forward. We appreciate the support for the Defense Production Act, but we also need federal production grants and tax credits to ensure manufacturing capacity. Chairwoman Davids, I want to highlight your bill as well. The $100 million fund set aside for small businesses is an important tool moving forward, and we need more of that moving ahead. Further, private sector investment is important to U.S. supply chains, can be bolstered by contracting reforms that promote long-term contracts for U.S. suppliers. We need a demand signal. In fact, our industry is starting to see orders dry up for PPE. We've had 60-day contracts, 90-day contracts. We need set-asides, certain set-asides for small business, but we should ensure that when we are providing contracts to small businesses, they can deliver and have the capital necessary to help the U.S. government. And the last recommendation I had is ensure that the SBA loan process is streamlined and communication is better with borrowers. During the height of the pandemic, it was difficult for some of our manufacturers to tap into the resources because they simply didn't know where the paperwork trail would eventually lead. Our industry is ready to work with this committee. I want to amplify the comments made about workforce. We really do need more funding to help bring workers back on the job, and our industry stands ready to help this committee in any way possible.
Thank you, Ms. Glass. And Mr. Taylor, you're recognized for 5 minutes.